Hello guys, today I have some more bizarre historical facts for you, ranging from Jewish Avengers, Napoleon being attacked by bunnies, and Hitler's American nephew. So as you probably know, Germany did some terrible shit during World War II. When the war ended in 1945, a group of around 50 Holocaust survivors didn't believe enough justice had been served to Nazi Germany, and so they took it into their own hands and formed a paramilitary organization called Nakam or Din, and later nicknamed the Jewish Avengers. Nakam formed the group, believing to kill 6 million Germans for the 6 million Jews that were killed in the Holocaust. Kind of like an eye for an eye, but times 12. The group's first plan, led by Abba Kovner, was to poison the water supply of Nuremberg. After obtaining poison from Mandatory Palestine, the group infiltrated Nuremberg's water supply. But as Kovner was arriving with the poison, he was caught in the British-controlled zone of Germany and had to dump all of the poison. After this failure, the group attempted another plan, but this time in the American zone. The group targeted German prisoners of war and would poison 3,000 loaves of bread and sicken 2,000 German prisoners of war at the Langwasser internment camp, but in the end, no one would die. Way later on in 2000, German prosecutors would open an investigation against them for attempted murder, but would later throw it away due to unusual circumstances. In 1807, Napoleon had just signed the treaties of Tilsit, putting an end to the war between the French Empire and Imperial Russia. To celebrate this, Napoleon wanted to host a rabbit hunt, so he had his chief of staff, Alexandre Berthier, to organize the hunt. Berthier bought more than 3,000 rabbits from local farmers. The reason Berthier bought so many rabbits was to impress Napoleon. On the day of the hunt, Napoleon and his guests showed up to a field ready to hunt a shit ton of rabbits. And when the rabbits were released, Napoleon and his companions expected them to run away, but instead, they came together and headed straight towards Napoleon and his men. At first, everyone was having a good laugh. But keep in mind this was 3,000 rabbits, and Napoleon's party soon realized this and tried everything to keep them away, including shooing them, chasing them with sticks, and cracking bullwhips to scare them. After all of this, Napoleon finally thought they had succeeded in fighting off the rabbits, but the rabbits' attack was not over. General Paul Charles-François Adrien Henri Dieudonné Thibault, what the fuck is that name, described the scene as, "The intrepid rabbits turned the emperor's flank, attacked him frantically in the rear, refused to quit their hold, piled themselves up between his legs till they made him stagger, and forced the conqueror of conquerors, fairly exhausted, to retreat and leave them in possession of the field." Even though Napoleon had fled to his carriage, the rabbits did not give up, and according to the historian David Chandler, with a finer understanding of Napoleonic strategy than most of his generals, the rabbit horde divided into two wings and poured around the flanks of the party and headed for the imperial coach. The flood of bunnies continued. Some reportedly leapt into the carriage. The attack eventually ceased as the coach rolled away. The cause of this monstrous war was Berthier. Berthier had bought tamed rabbits instead of wild rabbits. With the rabbits being tamed, they saw Napoleon as someone with food. William Patrick Hitler was born March 12, 1911 in Liverpool, England. His father was Alois Hitler Jr., the half-brother of Adolf Hitler. Alois left his wife and William to travel Europe and eventually settled in Germany with a new wife while still being married. As soon as William turned 18, he traveled to Germany to meet his dad. William's dad would take him to a Nazi rally where he saw his uncle Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi Party. William would eventually come back to Germany and meet his uncle in person this time, but when William got back to England, he would publish some articles about his old uncle Adolf. But Adolf didn't like how the articles portrayed him. So Adolf called William back to Berlin and demanded that the articles be retracted. With William's name being in the articles he published, his relationship with Hitler became public, which led to him being not welcomed in England and fired from his job. William decided to move to Germany to look for employment, but Adolf denied they were relatives and William's father sent him back to England. Now in 1933, William returned to Germany for work, but now Adolf received William much more calmly. William would go on to work at a bank, and later with a car manufacturer, when suddenly his uncle revoked his work permit, and then William had a frightening encounter with Hitler, which led William to leave Germany. Back in England again, William tried to join the British Armed Forces, but was rejected This didn't stop William. William would move to the United States where he would try to join the U.S. Armed Forces but once again be rejected because of his family ties. After this, William would write directly to President Roosevelt, who would pass the letter on to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, and Hoover would allow him to join the military. William was sworn into the U.S. Navy on March 6, 1994. William Patrick Hitler would go on to serve 3 years as a pharmacist's mate and receive a Purple Heart for a wound and discharged in 1947. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe.